Morning. This is part 2 of trees of Colorado and trees in the Bible, and this is the ponderosa pine, Pinus ponderosa. That's pretty easy to remember. And this is like one of the most common kind of cornerstone tree species of western Colorado. You get these everywhere in the part of Colorado we're in, kind of thick blankets of it across the hillsides here. And it's a really nice looking pine tree, very similar to those of you back in the UK to Scots pine or European pine. It looks really similar, grows in a kind of very similar way, and similar kind of soil conditions as well. If you can see this one behind me, it's a real nice mature specimen, and you can see, like Scots pine, it's even got the kind of orangey pinky bark that they get when they kind of get mature. And so yeah, real special tree. And the main difference between the ponderosa pine and the Scots pine is the foliage. The needles are kind of longer and grow in groups of 3 as opposed to groups of 2 like the Scots pine does. So yeah, look at that, lovely. These trees behind me or around me here, you can see I'm kind of standing in a kind of a bit of a grove of ponderosa pine, and these are just all the way through our town here. Woodland Park is just built in a big pine forest basically, and these trees are probably kind of 150-ish years old, so they grow quite slowly. You can see they're not huge, but Woodland Park was a real logging centre kind of 150 to 100 years ago. The area around here was logged massively to supply lumber for construction and railroads and all the stuff that was going on back then. And so lots of logging took place, lots of timber taken out. There was a railroad here that was kind of specifically here for hauling lumber out of the area. And but this area now is just covered again in thick pine forest. So after the logging, this tree, this ponderosa pine, just seeds and regenerates kind of freely, and it's just, as you know, the forest has just regenerated. Kind of linking back to what I was saying in my last little message on aspen about how you know, forests will recover if they're allowed to, and how timber is such an amazing kind of renewable resource that God has given us. Yeah, so these trees are 150 years old maybe, so it's pretty young for a tree really. And I actually turned 40 today. This is my 40th birthday, so I'm just a youngster. 40 is nothing. So looking forward to catching these trees up. And t-shirt I've got on today is a nice funky Colorado t-shirt that one of my friends gave me for my birthday, so I'm liking that. And the next trees that we see in the Bible after the creation account is in Genesis 2 and 3, where we see the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And God has put these trees in the garden for Adam and Eve, and basically it's all about choice. So God does not force himself on anyone, and he wants a relationship with us, that we choose and to follow him and to love him and to enter into a relationship. He doesn't force us into anything. And also it's then crazy to blame God for stuff that goes on in our lives and stuff that goes on in the world around us. You know, God has given us the choice as mankind. As I said in the last message, he kind of put us in charge of creation, gave us rule and dominion, and you know, and it's our choice of what we do with it. And so this tree of life and this tree of knowledge of good and evil, they represent the choice that we have, and it's the choice of life, to put God in our lives and to follow his ways, and to look to him and to trust in him, and or the other choice is to do it our way, and that's what the tree of knowledge of good and evil represents. It's kind of saying, oh no, we know better than God, we can work this out ourselves, and this is what mankind has done through the millennia. Kind of said, oh, I think we know better than God, and what does God know? And kind of we blame him for the bad stuff, and then we think we're clever enough to sort out things on our own, and the good stuff we can take credit for. So yeah, it's about a choice of life, the God kind of life that he wants to give us, and he's offering us that through Jesus Christ. Ultimately, the tree of life is pointing us to Jesus. He said, I am the way, the truth and the life. So when we look at this choice of the trees that represent this choice, we have life, and we have kind of doing it our way, and the life that is offered through Jesus, through his death and resurrection for us. And yeah, it's an amazing choice God gives us. He wants us to freely choose, and that's why he's given us free will to make this choice. And it's a choice that all of us face, but the life that he offers us is just how we were designed to be created, and how he made us. So I just encourage you with that this morning, and yeah, choose life and enjoy these pine trees. And the next one is going to be Douglas fir, one of my favourites. So there's a few Douglas firs growing in Colorado, so I'm going to do a quick one on Douglas fir in a few days' time.